Stephen J. Goralski, attorney at Military Law. Real quick, I want to talk about family support, spousal support. So service members, um, if your wife or husband, if the two of you get separated, you still gotta support. So those of you with baby mamas out there, she leaves, still have to provide spouse support pending, a court order or an agreement between the parties agreeing to an amount. So family support is required absent a court order, absent an agreement between the parties. If there's an agreement between the parties or there is a court order, then that would trump the the order or regulation that says that service member has to provide family support. Now, how much family support, how much money per month, that all depends on that individual's BAH, how much basic allowance for housing they receive per month or they would receive per month, and also the number of dependents that they're required to support. Okay, so for example, if it's a service member and a spouse and the spouse leaves, then he or she would have to pay half half his or her BAH to that spouse. Okay. If it's, for example, if it's, a service member, a spouse, and a child, then that service member would have to pay 2/3 of their BAH to that spouse. Okay. There are some exceptions, to not have to pay that amount other than, an agreement or a court order. Some of those exceptions include if there's domestic violence. For example, if the individual that's supposed to receive the financial support committed domestic violence upon the service member, then the service member can bring that to the attention of their CO and, basically inform his or her CO, hey, here's a police report, there's a domestic violence incident against me from my spouse, and so I'm requesting not to pay that individual family support. In addition, if that spouse that is to receive family support, if that spouse makes significantly more money than the service member, then that's another thing to bring up to the CO in order to deviate from the amount that service member is supposed to pay that spouse. Now, typically, this issue comes to the command's attention when that service member is not paying family support and that spouse makes a complaint to the command. So once that happens, the commanding officer has so many days to look into it and get back to that spouse. Typically, if it's determined that service member is obligated to provide family support for their spouse, pending, court order, basically that command will sit down with that service member, go over the order regulation, discuss how much that service member is obligated to pay, and then, see that service member, pays that amount. Now, the command can't force that service member to pay that amount. The service member can refuse, but then that service member can be punished for basically not following that order. Okay, so they can receive Article 15 or NJP for choosing not to support that spouse. That's all I have. Like, follow, share. Take care.